Look at him, eating whatever he wants, never gaining a pound, while I'm stuck with the boring special and can't lose an ounce.
How's your lunch, man?
Amazing. Yours?
So good.
Oh, I'm so happy for you.
Cool, buddy.
Weight loss isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that can fix your frustration with food.
So, same time next week?
No!
Definitely.
And your friends. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
Hey, Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. A little bit more of an opinion-based episode, so not really an information right now. So for those of you just looking for information, if you want to tap out, I prefer you to stick around. I'll have some more information drop in later tonight, but more opinion-based. I was watching Josh Pate earlier. Not sure how you guys feel on Josh Pate. But I think it was during his live show and they ended up posting a clip, but he was asked by a viewer kind of his belief in Lincoln Riley. Like, does he still believe Lincoln Riley can win a national championship? So I want to talk about his response. I think most people know where I stand, but I'll give my opinion on it. And then I would love to hear from you guys. So really, I'm going to pose the question. I'll put it in the comments. Like, do you believe Lincoln Riley can win a national championship at USC? Doesn't necessarily have to mean it's this year. But does that mean you believe in him enough that he's going to do well enough this year to continue on and then he can win on 27 and beyond? Or maybe you think he can win this year, or are you one of those, and I know there are a good handful of you that thinks he will never win a national championship at USC or anywhere. So drop your comments below. Just love to get the conversation going. I'll try to respond to as many, but open forum here. And then maybe Tim and I will be doing the live show again here soon, probably starting up next week. Just been some stuff with the offseason and whatnot. So that maybe this can be one of our topics, depending on the response I get here on our live show for those that want to call in. But so Josh Pate, he has been one of the, I would say, more pro Lincoln Riley national media guys. And again, I don't know how you guys feel about Pate. I've always liked him. I think he's a good analyst. I don't agree with everything. As he says, as I don't know any analyst who you could ever agree with everything they say. I'm sure most of you don't agree with a lot about what I say. But I think overall he's pretty good. I think he's entertaining enough. I don't know his entire background, but from what I know, he's kind of a guy that seemed like he kind of started and just grinded and built his brand. And now he's obviously everywhere on ESPN and CBS and all that stuff. So I respect him. I think he's seems like a good dude. And I think he's always been primarily fair to USC. Definitely not like a USC homer guy, but I definitely don't think he's a USC hater. I think he's a very fair national pundit when it comes to USC. That's my opinion on him. But he is certainly pretty openly a Lincoln Riley, I would say, supporter. You know, he'll obviously come after him when needed and when due, but he's not like a Paul Feinbaum or not one of those guys that you can just tell is a Lincoln Riley USC hater. He is not that. So he's always been kind of supportive. And in his response to this question, essentially, and I'll drop the link to the video if you want to check it out, because I'm just paraphrasing, but essentially says, yes, he does believe Lincoln Riley will win a national championship and does believe he can do it at USC. Also says, however, like all of us know, this is an extremely integral, extremely important season moving forward, and really in kind of laying out the trajectory of this program under the leadership of Lincoln Riley. Like, this is the year. Doesn't mean they have to win it this year, but in his words, this needs to be a playoff caliber program this season. He didn't specifically say have to make the playoff, but they have to be a playoff contender and a Big Ten title contender, which in reality they were this year. Right? Going 9-3, they were one win away from being in the college football playoff and potentially in the Big Ten title game. So they already were that technically this year. They just didn't win any of those big games that would have catapulted them, right? Like, they basically beat everyone they should have beat and lost to the two teams they were, favored against, and then lost a bummer one at Illinois. So, but he said, I understand the criticism. I understand the doubters. I understand there's also some of those out there that will just hate Lincoln Riley no matter what because of how he left Oklahoma. But he said he is not there yet. Like, he believes in what he's done at USC over the past couple of seasons and believes that he has what he needs in place right now to make USC a true contender. His main reasoning is kind of what I've been saying. And not to pat myself on the back, but I have said, and many of you that watch this show often, appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. I have said often that whether you like it or not, we are now heading into year 3 of the Lincoln Riley era, not year 5. Yes, in terms of calendar years under contract, it is year 5. But in terms of where this program shifted gears and kind of tore it down again, we are going into year 3. Just finished year 2. And I've said many times, like, year 1 was a anomaly. And I think it blinded not just Lincoln Riley, but many of other staff members, probably us fans, us media, analysts, all of that. And then year 2, while 8-5 may not sound like a disaster, we all know year 2 was a disaster. With the coaching decisions, the retention of Alex Grinch, with the recruiting decisions, the transfer portal decisions, it set the program back. No denying that. So then in year 3, that's when you made the entire new defensive coaching staff. You kind of altered your plan, not fully, but began altering your recruiting strategy. You kind of then get the wheels in motion with Jen Cohen now being on board for just not even a full calendar year, but now coming up on the second season, the wheels in motion for the new facility and getting that excited. So you've really started back at ground zero or back at the base to start over. And then after that season, which 6-6 regular season felt like a disaster, but you could see some of the building blocks, right? All the one score losses. You're in the new conference. Style of play has changed. Yada yada. Then that season ends. Then you get Chad Bowden, the GM. You build your recruiting staff. You fully switch up or fully commit to a new recruiting strategy. All that happens last offseason. So now you go into year 2 of like, okay, now we truly have our foundation. Year 1 or year 3 was a foundational year. Now year 2, year 4 was kind of our fruits of some of that early labor year. And now this season, year 3, is where we see it all come together and become a true contender. What's up, Trojan family? Got to tell you about a quick update from our friends over at Sleeper. Remember, they're the #1 sports app and absolutely fantastic for fantasy and daily fantasy, but they've just added a fantastic new features and they've launched team picks. So now you can choose winners of each game out there, whether it's NBA, MLB. I know football's over. It's coming back soon. Don't worry. NHL, all those. And you just pick the team winner of each of those games. So here in Los Angeles, Lakers, whoever they're playing next. Do you pick the Lakers? Do you pick their opponent? Dodgers season just around the corner. Are you picking the Dodgers or are you picking their opponent? It's that easy. It's that simple. And it's that much fun. So aside from fantasy, aside from the daily fantasy pick 'em, now you can do the team picks that they just launched. So download the Sleeper app today. #1 sports app. Go and check it out and have a ton of fun. And make sure to keep it right here at USC LAF. So I know no one likes to hear that because they'll say, okay, well, it's not. He's going to year 5. Disaster, yada, yada, yada. But that's just the way I see it, and I think that's truly the way it is. And once they made that switch 2 years ago, and this is also what Josh Pate says, like, it was going to take 2 years to get to where they needed to go. And, it was going to take that time with a complete culture shift, ideology shift, philosophy shift to then get to where you go because you're starting everything over. And the reality is, and I think I've said this before, if Lincoln Riley had signed a normal contract with USC. Like most coaches, like not all, but most college coaches, when they first sign on, it's like a 4 to 6 year deal. NFL, it's like 5 years, always. First time head coach, you get a 5 year deal. I think almost every single new coach in this cycle got like a 5 year deal. College is in that, for the most part, 4 to 6 years deals. Sometimes you'll see more years when you have kind of moves from pretty premier programs, and they have to sway someone over, which is what I'm going to get to, why that happened with Lincoln Riley. But typically, a normal coaching contract is in that 4 to 6 year range. Had Lincoln Riley been, in my opinion, on a 4 to 6 year deal, let's just call it a 5 year deal, he would have been fired after year 2. They would have, Jen Cohn was brand new. He wasn't her guy. They were going to the Big Ten the next season, right? The year 2 ended. That was 2 years in the Pac-12. It was a whole new world. New AD. The facility now is getting built. I fully believe, and I'm not saying this in any bad blood, but I think they would have said, okay, you know what? Fresh, hard reset. We gave it 2 years. We got 3 years left on the deal. Let's pay the buyout and get out of this. Because you had a 10-year deal, that was not feasible. Not feasible. So, instead of just starting fresh with a new coach, it's the same coach, same contract, but they still did a full reset. It was still a complete shift in every way of thinking than when he first arrived in Los Angeles. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You can see everything they've done so differently, so drastically different than how it was back in 2022, 2023. And I think they're going to reap the benefits of that. So you can blame Mike Bohn if you want for giving him a 10-year unmovable contract. There probably is some blame in a lot of this too, Mike Bohn, former AD. But the only way you were going to get a coach, a hot name coach at a premier already program, at a blue blood, is going to give a ridiculous contract. Like you're not just going to go get Oklahoma's head coach, LSU's head coach, Notre Dame's head coach. Go down the list of blue bloods. USC is a blue blood. But to go from blue blood to blue blood, like you've got to have a pretty enticing deal. You can't just say, hey, well, yeah, we'll give you basically what you're making now. We'll give you a 5-year deal and we'll up your pay $2 million a year or something. That 10-year deal was like, okay, how do I say no to that? I'm like locked in, I'm set for life. So that was really the only way they were going to coax him to go. So anyway, probably beside the point. I say all that in that I do believe, and I know this is no shock here. Everyone knows I'm more, the glass half full. But I do believe Lincoln Riley can win a national title, and I do believe he can do it here at USC. Will it be this season? I think they're still a year away. I love what they've done. Obviously, we talk a lot of recruiting here. Love this incoming class. I know the transfer portal class, which I'm going to talk about later tonight, is a little underwhelming to some, but I actually think it was really strategic in who they got. I think they just were higher maybe on some of their roster positions than fans are. We'll see if that is true or not. We'll see how that plays out, obviously. But I really like this team in place. It's all going to come down to this Gary Patterson hire. And it's either going to be a home run, like, wow, what an influential hire from Lincoln Riley with Gary Patterson. Or it's going to blow up in their faces and, there'll probably be a new coach heading into next season. But I believe that they have the framework in place, and I believe he is the guy to lead them the rest of the way. I think they can do it because I've seen a full shift in everything, in my opinion. In the games this year, many will get frustrated at, some of those losses, obviously, as you should. But you go from, what was it in 24, losing 6 one-score games to winning all one-score games but the Illinois game. In your Notre Dame and Oregon game, 2 road games, egregious special teams plays. Those games could have been wins with, just take out the special teams, they could have won those games. Obviously, it's ifs, ands, and buts, but that's how thin the margin is and how close they were. And I know people hate hearing close, one play away, but now they go this offseason and go hire arguably the best special teams coordinator in college football in Mike Eckler. So constantly steps have been taken to correct issues. And we saw those issues get corrected on scale last season, especially in games when you talk about defensive adjustments in the second half and comeback wins against Nebraska, against Iowa, really solid performances in those games. So now it's that next and final step in 26. And this, I don't care about the schedule. It's a hard schedule. This team has to keep showing improvement. Again, I don't think they're going to win the Natty this year. But you finished 9-3 last year. This needs to be, even if this is a 9-3 team, but you've shown like some big game improvements, I'd be okay with that. Obviously, 10-2 should be the goal. Another one-game improvement. 10-2 might get them in the college football playoff. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you still truly believe in Lincoln Riley? And do you think he will win a national championship either here at SC, or if they end up moving on, will he win it elsewhere? Do you think he is a national title winning coach? Because that was the question on Josh Pate. He said yes, he believes he will be. I believe he will be. What say you? Hit that like and subscribe button. Be back with more information. Appreciate you as always, family. Let's keep this thing rolling. As always, fight on.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.